You're listening to a Pop House Network podcast for developers by developers.
All right. Welcome to Java OffHeap episode 92. Yes, we're live. We just took a very, very long break while we were navigating whatever is happening on the industry. But we miss everybody so much that we decided that it was time to come back and do an update. For those who are listening for the first time, my name is Freddie Guime. I am a principal engineer at SuckDog, author, speaker, presenter, and Seattle Java User Group co-organizer.
I'm Bob Paulin, staff software engineer at Snowflake, Apache Software Foundation member.
Josh Juno, senior software engineer, specializing in Jakarta EE and Java, obviously, and also author and speaker.
Michael Manella, director responsible for the open source Spring team at Broadcom, author, speaker, curmudgeon at large.
All right. And I think today we dive right into the news and we open it up first with Michael. What you got cooking, Michael?
Woo. Well, it's been a little while since we've talked, so a couple things might have happened. I'm actually not going to go in the order on the doc. Spring AI. You all might have heard about this AI thing. I hear it's going to be big. And so, as you would expect, the Spring team has done something with it. So since we've talked last, Spring AI was a thing back when we talked last. However, it has not only gone 1.0 back last year, but we are on the verge of 2.0. So next month we will be releasing Spring AI 2.0. Major revisions around the project. Spring AI provides basically, Spring to AI. So the idea of being able to swap models, all of the integration bits, structured input and output, interceptors, configuration. If you want to integrate with AI with your application, Spring application, Spring AI is the way to do it. So honestly, I'm still working on stats, but by all of our non-concrete anecdotal indicators, I'll put it that way, Spring AI is actually probably our fastest growing project in Spring history. It is by stars, by contributions, by every non-download metric we have, and that's just because I don't have download metrics because of other reasons. It's definitely the fastest growing Spring project in history. So super popular, great job. Which leads me. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say I use it and it just makes life so much easier. So in the Spring way. So yeah, if you're integrating with large language models, there's a bunch of structures, things that you need to do, all the way from prompt to registering tools to essentially coordinating for tool calling and all that. And Spring AI makes it super easy. So yeah, and they've been growing a lot. But yeah, if you need to integrate with local LLMs or even executing large LLMs or even to external API LLMs, it makes it, is better than SLF4J for LLMs. So
related to that, just as FYI, we are also the maintainers of Spring AI are also the developers for the Java SDK for the MCP protocol.
Yeah.
So we are the ones that write the SDK for MCP for Java. If you're looking to build an MCP server in Java, the Spring AI is a great place to be because, like I said, it's the same maintainers.
I just want to mention real quick too, if you're just getting into it, so many good resources out there, just like you would expect of Spring, right? One that I would like to mention is also Spring AI. If you look at that, the Spring AI community, it's just unbelievable, all the great resources out there, examples, demonstrations of what you can do with it. It's great.
Yeah, and if you're looking for YouTube content, Dan Vega, has done amazing work on his YouTube channel. Like when I'm the manager, I don't write the Spring code anymore. But when I actually wanted to get up to speed on it, Dan Vega's stuff was top notch. Really impressed. Really great stuff. Moving on the Spring stuff though, so since Spring AI came out, we've also done a major version rev on the entire portfolio. So last November, for the 7th time in the over 20 years Spring Framework has been around, we revved the major version. So we are now at Spring Framework 7 and Spring Boot 4 and all, the dominoes for the rest of the portfolio. So super excited about that. Big things here. We did not change the Java baseline. So it is still a Java 17 baseline. We did upgrade the Jakarta EE baseline though. So that's 11. What else?
It's all still XML driven too, right?
We do support XML. Like, I wouldn't recommend using it, but we support it. Like your XML schemas should still work. Like
There are some XML lovers out there.
I mean,
Even I-
you do you, man. That's all I'm gonna say is you do you.
It's like we support it. That's it. We don't make any opinion with it.
Yes, yeah. Support versus encourage are two very, very different things.
It would be judging, dude. Though, like you load the stuff and the Spring Pros and log message SML. Really?
AI might be able to help you can refactor it. Yeah. So again, check it out. Some of the topics we'll be talking about later on strongly lead towards the upgrading frequently, early and often kind of thing. That's something that, as a culture, we need, as an industry, we need to improve on. The tooling is getting better. This major version is just one example of get on the latest stuff. It's a great opportunity to do that. The last thing I had, and this is really, really hot off the presses, it's actually coming out the day after we're recording, which is there is going to be a documentary on Spring. So there is a company on YouTube. Let me get the name of the company. Give me one sec. Should have this up. Cult Repo. So these are the guys that some of their stuff has been a little bigger. Like there was a Kubernetes documentary that they did years ago that had Kelsey Hightower on it and what. So that got a bunch of press about it. They've done a Python one, an Angular one, Node one. They actually have a Java one in the works as well. They posted a trailer for that on their YouTube channel. But there is a Spring one that is going to be premiering. My understanding is tomorrow. So check it out.
16th of April.
Damn.
So it has all of the Spring luminaries. Myself, I'm not a luminary, so I'm not on there. But like Rod Johnson, Jürgen Haller, Sebastian Deleuze, Mark Pollock. I apologize for anybody I'm forgetting that I saw. Stefan Nicole, Dave Sire. But yeah, so it's got all the people you'd expect to be in there talking about the 20 years history. So check it out.
So does it make you feel old that you're in a documentary or even working on a project that is involved in a documentary?
The only reason I'm going to say no on that is because we are they've done documentaries on younger technologies than ours. That being said, we might be the oldest technology they've done.
So they go to Java, right?
Yeah, until they go to Java.
Yeah.
They need to do a Linux one. They need to have one for Linus like that. That would be I don't know if they have or not, but yeah.
Oh my gosh. I don't know. If you're not there, I don't know if they captured the whole curmudgeon angle of Spring, but but yeah, no, definitely we're gonna be watching it. That'll be fun, All right. Next one. I guess this could be either Bob or Josh. Either one.
Well, we haven't done Java 25 or 26.
Yeah.
We haven't met since 25 came out.
It's been a minute, right? And we had an LTS.
I know.
That's amazing, right?
Of
We're
course.
finally starting to see open source projects upgrade to it.
Yeah.
2025, I'm trying to I'm going through the stat sheet. I know we talked a little bit about some of the forward leaning features in 25, but there's not anything on here that I was like, oh yeah, we've been talking about this for years. And I think part of that is due to the release train effort of them being able to push out the features just very quickly in the incremental releases. So a lot of security based enhancements, got structured concurrency. So they've continued to improve on that. Some more of the pattern matching. pieces, so you get a little bit more syntactic sugar in your switch statements, and yeah, I mean the language has continued to evolve.
Yeah.
I think there's still big things on the horizon, right? So for example, like I said, structured concern, see, but like project,
Yeah, it's the previous stuff.
Project Layton is still like on the, yeah, exactly. So it's coming. Like
Yeah.
there's a collection of interesting things that are like 25 is got some stuff, but it's not like, it's not an earth shattering, thing. Like there's still stuff that people waited for virtual threads. People waited for those kinds of things. Like, okay, we got the virtual threads. Now we want everything on top of it, right? The Layton stuff with regards to, the Graal versus Layton and, the optimizations and whatnot. So like,
The thing to keep in mind too, though, is that 25 is an LTS. So
Yes.
anything that came out in 22, 23, and 24, now it's technically an LTS.
yes.
You could use it in 22, but the foreign function and memory API, that's now like in an LTS.
True.
So I think that's big news,
True. I guess it depends on who you talk to. Like,
Right.
isn't Brian Getz always saying that there's no such thing as an LTS? Every version is the same.
Version's the same, and how many PhDs go into Project Valhalla?
Yeah.
Although I'm curious, because one of the things we didn't put in the agenda that actually we should talk a little bit about is OpenJDK's policy on AI, generative AI use.
Oh, yeah.
Because
Ooh, that just happened.
with generative AI coming into the picture, expectations for feature development in the JDK people might expect faster development, but there is a policy right now against using generative AI in OpenJDK.
Now it is a temporary
It's
policy.
temporary. It is not a permanent ban on it. I don't know if they're waiting for lawyers. I mean, what?
Come on.
Come on.
So
That's horrible.
no, it's the lawyers. Like, come on.
It's probably lawyers, but it's interesting because, when you start looking at the landscape again, like and we're going to talk about this more later, I'm sure. But the expectations of being able to ship things faster,
More
adding
faster.
little AI's magic dust over everything, and OpenJDK is actively saying not yet.
I think what there is I find it like you can get acceleration very quickly on your mundane stuff, right? Because that's just mundane. But the more specialized you get, the less effective like this AI tools to do like a one fell swoop and just fix it for you, right? And I just imagine that OpenJDK code is probably one of the most unique code bases there is out there. So I wonder, if part of the resistance is, if you consider like AI to be a very good developer, how does that hold a candle to like OpenJDK developers, right?
I don't think it's so. In my reading of the announcement on this, it again, like, that's why I'm like, it's lawyers, because they talk specifically about concerns around what was the model trained on and how do we have the rights to be able to accept that into our code base? So like, I've heard different legal explanations on some of this stuff. I've heard some lawyers say that because an LLM could generate the same code multiple times, it doesn't make it novel or unique, which is what you need for patent and to be protected. And so it's okay in open source. But if it was trained on, if that code that it generates is the result of training on something it should have been trained on in the first place, or doesn't have the right to distribute, like, does that legal argument fall apart? Like, there's nuances here that the courts haven't
know yet.
Started. Imagine if the agent saw Zing or Azul's implementation,
Proprietary,
which I'm sure they're very interested in protecting copyright of their own code that they've developed as a clean room implementation of the JDK. If that started creeping into the JDK, there might be questions. There might be laws.
We started off on the Google v Oracle.
Oh my gosh,
We're
that's-
gonna be going a little soon.
No, wasn't GitHub the one that flipped that bit to like say, if you don't opt out, we're gonna use your code to train?
GitHub has that on every repository right now. So
Right.
at the top of
That
every
just happened.
repository, GitHub it has a banner that says, if you don't opt out, we are going to use your repository to train Copilot. Yes, that is on GitHub right now.
So yeah, lawyers. So yeah.
So fun.
Do we think that they're actually the developers for the OpenJDK are using Cursor to create their things and then they're just rewriting and changing?
So within the rules, I think they're specifically saying it is fine to use generative AI tools to ask questions like, how does this work, to help debug.
Sure.
It's the generating the code part that is an issue. And I wonder
It was content, right? Like, because
Yeah.
like they even talked about comments and stuff. I thought like it's
what I don't feel like they mention in here is like testing. Like one of the favorite things I've been using AI for is generating tests, because it can do it. It can whip up a test with no time at all. And it doesn't really mention it, but at the end of the day, it's an open source project. It is generating content. The tests are part of the repository. So you would think that would be included as off limits. For
the record, the official policy, and we'll include this in the show notes, I'm sure. Contributions to the OpenJDK community must not include content generated in part or in full by large language models, diffusion models, or similar deep learning systems. Content in this context includes, but is not limited to, source code, text, and images in OpenJDK Git repositories, GitHub pull requests, email messages, wiki pages, and JBS issues. So like that is about as broad of a statement as I have seen anywhere yet about a ban on this stuff.
Very, very broad as a not yet.
Yeah.
So more on that, I'm sure. But that's the very first open source project I've seen declared a ban from.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's, I guess, a little bit interesting that I guess it's not interesting that one's the first, knowing the
Oracle.
It's Oracle.
But yeah, no, it's, it'll be interesting to see if there are more of those, if people follow suit, or whether they're the exception. Because right now they are the exception.
Silly question.
Yeah.
And I just don't know. What's the Apache's position on that?
So we actually have a document out there on generative AI use on the ASF website. Let me see if I can find it.
Give us the Cliff's notes or the AI summary.
At the end of the day, like, we do allow you contributors to use AI tools, but all of the contributions are still coming from the committer.
Yes.
So the responsibility for saying that I am owning this piece of code that I'm publishing and accepting into the project comes down to the person committing the code, as if, which is the same as if I would have generated it myself.
Yep. But now that's code, but
the
comments or anything else?
I'm trying to
Go back to
It says here that it applies to documentation and images.
Yeah. It's fairly new, but and I expect more to be happening in this space, because the ASF has started a responsible AI initiative as well. So we announced we recently have gotten funded from Anthropic $1.5 million to the ASF as a donation to help the ASF promote responsible AI use within open source projects. A lot of that is still being defined as what does that actually mean? But we have money to kind of seed those things within the projects and getting governance around it, because I expect this is going to be just as disruptive to open source as it is to general industry.
More so, I
Maybe
think.
even more so.
More so.
I mean, you see the pull requests coming in, they're
we'll get to that.
extensive, and we're going to get to that later. But we have started to build some recommendations and some policies, and I expect that to evolve and grow over the next couple of months as we kind of get the organization together around this initiative.
Cool.
That we're having. So, more to come on that.
Josh, do you know of anything in the Jakarta EE space with regards to like
To AI?
AI contributions and that kind of thing?
Sure, because
Okay.
to be honest with you, I haven't been following very closely on committing code and whatnot for Jakarta EE, but I can tell you that there is talk of some AI projects in Jakarta EE, and I'll mention that a little bit later, but I don't know as far as, if you made a contribution that was written by AI, if that's going to actually be accepted or not. I guess that would be a little bit more broad up to the Eclipse level, right? Because it's an Eclipse Foundation project. So what does Eclipse think about this? I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Policy or not.
Yeah, I haven't seen if Eclipse has a policy on it yet. It'll be interesting to see where it evolves as, again, a European not-for-profit, as well as probably the closest thing aligned to OpenJDK as there is out there as an open source organization.
Yep.
And obviously not aligned, but like
Yep.
they have a lot of skin in the game there.
Yep.
But I would expect they'd probably fall closer to the Apache definition where they're going to allow it. And it's going to basically come down to people contributing code to assert that what is going in is okay.
Yeah. And like to complete the loop on the table, Spring, we accept open source, or we accept AI generated contributions. We've actually switched recently, not that recent, probably about a year ago, from a CLA to a DCO. So a contribution license agreement that was a lot more heavy handed, to a DCO, which is basically a developer certificate of origin. This actually, we lean heavily now on GitHub's own policy, which GitHub's policy is by default, the license in is the same as the license out. So if you are contributing to Apache 2 license project, the software you are contributing must be available under that license. And so we go under the guys like, if you are contributing AI generated content, you are in a position to attest to that you have the legal authority to be able to contribute it to an Apache 2 project. So that's the way we've taken it. We'll get into later on all the implications of it.
I just found something in Eclipse world real quick. This says, this is on their page. It's called AI and Contribution, but it's back from 2023. So I don't know how.
Oh, that's about
That's
it.
old.
That's the horse and cart, horse and buggy at this point in that world.
If I look at the AI though, the AI generated content on Google says that they do permit it now, Eclipse Foundation, but it's the committer of responsibility.
Okay. So yeah, that's similar to the ASF model. So no surprises there.
That's good.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right. Next one, Jakarta EE 12.
So for those of you who are not aware, Jakarta EE 11 is out.
Okay.
And we should be using it. However,
You
I'm not
can't.
sure what the adoption.
You can't.
It's not really adopted very widely yet. And that's probably because there are not a lot of implementations out there, a lot of, application vendors, server vendors, whatever, that are actually using it. I've not started to use it, in my mainstream. I played with it. I've obviously written some demos with it, whatever. But 11 is out there. The biggest thing I think in 11 is the new specification, Jakarta Data. That's a very interesting one, which allows you to basically, simplifies data access, which improves productivity no matter what kind of data store you're using.
So
That's the big one. Yeah.
yeah, so I have to get in here as you are not going to be surprised. Going back to you can't because it's not implemented.
Yeah.
So just to be crystal clear, I'm on the Jakarta EE compatibility website right now. There are 4 listed implementations of the platform, compatible products. Eclipse Glassfish. I don't even know how to pronounce this next one. It's JEUS Juice.
Juice. Yeah.
Sure. Pyara, which is essentially Glassfish, right?
Well, it's
It's but it's and then Tongweb, which I had never heard of. That's it. IBM, BEA, Oracle, like all of the Tommy, like all the big guys, none of them are here. And when you scroll down on this page looking for, well, maybe they implemented a profile of this, they're still not here. You've got the core profile only is the only thing that has anything further, and that's Open Liberty, Wildfly, the Fujitsu one, and again Pyara. Like Pyara, to your point, is arguably the only mainstream, and I'm using air quotes here because let's not kid ourselves on the market share here. Like it's the closest thing to a mainstream implementation of Jakarta E11 that exists today.
Well, since we recorded last, they've been, they are now under Azure. So Azul owns Priority.
That doesn't change my argument.
I know.
doesn't change my
They're
argument.
pretty big. But yeah, they're the biggest vendor, arguably, just like you mentioned.
And so I'm sorry, I'm really struggling with why Jakarta EE 12? Like nobody implemented 11. Why 12?
Well, in my opinion, if you look at Jakarta EE 12 and what it's going to offer, there are just some updates in the different profiles, and I think it's going to be another iterative release, which will have to continue to iterate and expand and build upon things.
Do you if nobody's using it?
Who is not using it though? Sprint is using it.
So that's actually that's a really good point. So we use bits and pieces of it. And so maybe that like, and this is the part I struggle with the Jakarta EE in general is the drive for it to be the platform, the
All in one.
exactly. Yeah. The kitchen sink aspect of it, as opposed to I mean, to be transparent, we probably drive more Jakarta EE adoption than anything on this page, from a pure usage perspective. Like the number of people using the servlet API, I'm willing to bet my job that more people are consuming that via Spring than any official release like this.
Spring has the market share of the enterprise Java development.
And
You're driving lots of, whoever it's coming from Spring that is using Jakarta EE, obviously, using it because they were on your platform.
well, but I'm looking specifically at you, not at Bob, for a reason, which is like, what are you doing? So like, I don't know how much of work you can talk about, but like,
So
I know you are a Jakarta EE developer, right? So like, when you see 11 was barely implemented, 12, like, we don't even know what's going to happen with that, but you can't assume anybody else is going to, like, you can't assume that pie is going to grow.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing with Jakarta EE applications? Are you looking at alternatives? Is this like just keep lights on?
Honestly, I'm always looking for alternatives. At the same time, I've got a lot of applications that have been developed under Jakarta EE, and it's a stable platform. I don't think it's going anywhere, and they're continuing to, update it with what we're seeing with 11 and 12. And so I am still using it. And to be honest with you, one of my main front ends is still Jakarta Faces.
I know that's why I asked, because like that's one of the things that doesn't play nice with Spring. So like, even if you wanted to move over, like that would be a struggle.
Yeah. And the reason being is because I've got lots of older applications, and I think that's where Jakarta EE really comes into play. Is a lot of these enterprises that have applications that they've been, using for years, they're upgrading to newer versions of the platform. It was a huge to get the Jakarta EE 10. So I'm not surprised that people are not going to 11 right away.
Are you on Pyro?
I use Pyro Micro for most of my containers, because I containerize the application.
Understood. Yeah.
And things like that. Oh yeah, Pyro Micro, it's good. Glassfish embedded, actually, it's pretty nice. If you were to speak with some of the individuals out there in Jakarta EE realm, Omnifish has really stepped up their game, and they're really supporting Glassfish pretty well now. So,
I mean, do you talk to anybody who's in maybe I should shut up just from a like time perspective topic, but like, do you talk to anybody that is like a Webster shop or a BEA or like WebLogic shop, and like, what are they even? Okay.
honestly, have not heard of people using that since the Jakarta, the Java EE8 days, probably.
Okay.
Those,
Okay.
there's your Red Hat and other big vendors, Tommy, that are still coming along with Jakarta EE. I don't think that they're going to go away. I think it's a solid platform, and I do think it has a space. It's not as widely adopted as Spring, nor do I think it ever will be. But I do think it plays a foundational role in enterprise Java development. And I think it makes sense to continue building out these specifications. from my opinion, it does, but I may be biased because I do use Jakarta EE in a lot of my applications.
Michael,
Yeah,
yeah,
no,
for you to turn evil so that they can take all your business.
I mean, and to be crystal clear, don't get me wrong. Like, like I said, I firmly believe that Spring drives more Jakarta EE adoption than the rest of the actual Jakarta EE implementations combined. There is, I would love nothing more than to see Jakarta EE succeed. And the way I see that is by, quite frankly, dropping the whole platform model completely and going into a module driven thing similar to, quite frankly, how Spring and a lot of other projects work.
Yeah.
And allowing them to evolve independently. And also kind of thinning it out. I mean, there's a bunch of stuff in there that, you can easily argue is just bloat at this point. Like,
Yeah, part of Jakarta EE was, that migration was kind of gearing towards trying to thin it out a little bit, but I don't think that that's happened fast enough. It's still pretty big.
No, I mean, a lot of the more active projects that I've seen, deprecation is probably the biggest driver of just keeping it lively, reducing surface area for security issues. So, I mean, and that helps.
How you keep things healthy.
Out,
How you keep things healthy.
and cutting those things down. So, and I'm not saying that that's not going to happen in Jakarta EE, but I think that is one of the things that is a differentiator now, especially, even pivoting into the agentic side, like cutting things out is actually, I would say, easier now. When you can task it to an agent and say, we're going to deprecate this and we're going to remove it. It's really then the human part of it is working with the community to make sure that they understand that and they have a path, an off ramp.
Mhm.
They actually still need that stuff.
Sure. Yeah, one of the biggest topics for Jakarta EE was getting rid of EJB, right? I still see it on the 12 project.
I was saying, are they going to do it? I know they were talking a ton about it on 12.
It was
Kill it with fire.
It was a big deal to do. I think it's happening.
All right. Well, and I think that is, we should probably just, again, keep watching it as it goes through. Again, I think agentic development is going to be an interesting wrinkle that we don't know exactly how it's going to land. So right now we just put it in our watch list and keep following. Of course, Josh, as you're always plugged in, you'll tell us what's going on. All right, the next one. Should we go to the AI news?
Yeah, why don't we go to the AI news next?
All right, so like the first
sad stuff, right?
Yeah.
Let's start with the bad news first.
Yes. All right. So if you've been on our industry as an engineer, it has been a little bit jarring because there has been news of layoffs by AI, right? And these are not just hearsays. These are it got to the point first that yeah, that might happen. Now it's very, very real, right? Like Oracle had a big firing layoff round. Actually, people that we know and work with a lot in the Oracle Java ecosystem would actually let go. Block also had essentially their big announcement that they had 40% of the workforce reduced, and they were saying is mostly because it was it's definitely not all AI, but I cannot say that it was not AI. He had a line like that where it's I'm not going to say that it wasn't AI. So, and same with Atlassian where they actually had also I think 10% layoffs. So it's interesting times, right? And it's one of those where you're trying to tease out what is real versus conjecture. There is the posturing that okay, so to essentially frame the context, every tech company, I think, or almost every tech company is investing in some form of agentic coding, AI tools and stuff, and they're throwing money, like buckets of money, and with the expectation that I'm throwing this bucket of money because I'm going to save even a bigger bucket of money, right? And I think that there's a point where the market is being a little patient, but they're like, okay, well, you spend all this money, where's the savings, right? So that is kind of like my question. Is this all really just efficiencies from AI, or is it almost like paying the piper because that's the expectation and we have to do something?
I think there's two ways to look at the problem. So I mean, there's probably more than one issue, but there's companies that are saying, hey, these are the things that we want to deliver, and that's not changing. So AI is making our development more productive. So we're just going to reduce the amount of developers we have and expect them to get the same amount of work done. And our hope is that the agentic models and the pricing in there is enough that we're going to actually be able to do this for less money. Now, there are other companies, I think, out there that look at this as, okay, we are going to expect more out of our individual developers. Maybe we're not going to hire as fast as we were, or maybe we're not going to reduce staff, but we're just going to raise the bar and we're just going to expect them to produce more because we're spending this money. Now, how the market decides to reward companies that decide one or the other, I no idea. But I think those are kind of the two paths we're seeing, where we're seeing a lot of companies cut deeply and say, look, we can accomplish the same agenda without the number of developers we have. We'll see how that plays out. And other companies that are maybe they're holding on and saying, we're just going to expect more and try to deliver more and exceed the goals that we originally had set, knowing that this is going to increase part. But nobody is disputing that it is increasing productivity. That's probably the thing across the board that I've seen.
I agree with you on the increase in productivity. I think anybody can argue with that. From a financial aspect, I really can't wait till one of these companies goes public, because right now, the most expensive models for Anthropic, they're not cheap. Like by
pretty penny.
Yeah, exactly. Like you could argue that you could hire an engineer in a low cost area, for potentially a similar amount of money. If you're pounding that model. So, and when you consider the fact that, arguably the market leader in at least our industry with regards to code generation and that kind of thing is Anthropic. If you go off of that, they are, in my opinion, they are in the worst position of anybody with regards to scalability. They are at the mercy of all the hyperscalers while they figure out how to build and buy their way to the data center capacity that Microsoft, Amazon, and Google are already just parked on. Like they already have massive amounts of data center and that level of infrastructure. Yeah, they need to swap out for the GPUs and whatnot, and what we do at Broadcom and whatnot. So like I get that, and there's a massive build out that's going to happen, but Anthropic is facing, in my opinion, a different beast because they don't have any of that. And so somebody's got to pay for that. And so when we talk about company X can fire developers and use Anthropic stuff, at a price point where they're losing money. When they go public, what happens? When they go public and they are actually held to the accountability of, I need to make money. I need a return on investment. And this isn't the user looking for a return on investment. This is Anthropic. Exactly. Yeah. They need a return on investment. And so I'm really interested. Don't get me wrong. I love what I can do with AI and whatnot, but every one of the companies that I've talked to that does the kind of the extreme, the hyperscalers, I've talked to, one other company, I was talking to one of their executives and he's like, I love AI. I'm doing all kinds of amazing stuff with it, but I don't get a bill for it. And I've got unlimited context and I can use those powerful models. He's like, I'm sure
that's cheating.
My point exactly. My point is that everybody that's getting the value that the marketing is pushing isn't paying for it. And so what happens when the rubber meets the road and, all these economics need to work out? That's the part that I'm really, really curious about. Don't get me wrong. I work for Broadcom. We are like at ground zero with regards to building chips for all these. We signed a deal with Anthropic. We've gotten to deal with basically we might have a deal
Michael,
with everybody.
I just heard that Michael is gonna have a retirement party in like 3 years, and we're all invited.
Yeah, come on, Broadcom stock, man. Like, come on, you all should buy some. But all joking aside, who can get the chips and who can do that build out in a way that allows them to continue to make money or make money in general, I find very interesting. Because also the other thing with all this is all of this stuff is evolving at a rate that this isn't like slapping CPUs in a data center where like you give an app more CPUs and yeah, it's a couple of years old, but you give it a little more horsepower, you give it a couple more CPUs and it works out. Like these GPUs, man, like that stuff is burning through really fast. What the models are sucking up it's I'm really struggling with the mid to long term economics of this.
Now, I think there is. So I have two parts of it. Like the first one is, in terms of efficiencies that you get by putting AI in front of an engineer. If the engineer is working on a solo project on its own, they go very fast. The moment that you put it into an organizational structure, unless the organizational structure had the time to pivot in how to absorb these changes, that is one of like the false readings I get. Like everybody is like, oh, AI make us so efficient, and it's like, I call your bluff because have you retrained your workforce? Have you have a real pipeline? Have you done all these things? Because to be honest, like there are things that are still coming out like 3 weeks ago that is like, oh yeah, we need to change our workflow again because this is the new way to do things, right? So there's that part of the economics where it's like we like, I think like Bob said, like we sprinkle the AI word, just having a cloud license, even if you're paying through the nose with it, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're already efficient, right? Like
I think when you look at how it impacts your workflow, like, so I'll just be blatantly honest. AI codes a lot faster than I do. Like if with a good prompt, it will do things that would literally take me days in minutes. Like
plus one. Definitely 100%.
I don't have the mental exhaustion for having to go through it. So 5 minutes later, I'm asking it to do something else. So I mean, the productivity gains are there. Now, I think there's phases that you go through. So I mean, there's the point where you are able to prompt the agent to do some tasks for you, and that generates more code. It can generate tests very quickly too, I find. So the PR that's going up is usually a lot bigger and more comprehensive than you would have done if you were just trying to incrementally build something yourself by hand. But that puts a lot more onus on reviewers. So as a reviewer, now you all have this long queue of pull requests now on your project that need a lot more detailed review, because you still have to have a human in the loop, because the AI, it still messes up sometimes. And when it messes up, because it is good, it's harder to find it. So you do need a very detailed reviewer to find those bugs. But I don't know if you guys have experienced this too, is you can use the AI also to help with the reviews. So you can use it to find specific things. It's still not going to find the really, really deeply problematic stuff, but it can hold a lot of the code base in context and maybe even find code paths that you didn't think of. So there are things that I find that the AI is helping me with in performing a review more efficiently, where I'm more thorough, which kind of pairs well. But like, you kind of learn that after you learn how to generate all the code, and you have the problem of this giant queue. The next level that I see people working with is just getting these agents to work with each other. Like, it seems like the folks that are building multi-agent hey, go build this, and somebody's testing that, and then, you know, you have multiple agents working and collaborating together. That seems like the next level, but it also feels very early for that, where it's like the results seem very mixed. Like I've heard good things, I've heard bad things, but it's not like the stuff that I'm doing right now where, hey, with a good prompt, this stuff is better than I am.
Yeah, and to Bob's point, you know, there are, as a software engineer, there's a lot of things we do. We wear a lot of hats, and not everything requires a computer science degree. And so one of the things that I've been driving my team to do is look at, you know, what are things that, like, what do I need? There are certain things I need Jürgen Zahler's brain on. There are certain things I don't need Jürgen Zahler's brain on. Like, what are the things that I don't need Jürgen Zahler's brain on that I can ask him to delegate to an AI? You know, that kind of thing is huge for us. You know, as we do get into AI from our community, you know, we are under a fire hose right now with regards to community contributions, which is great on one hand, but it's also harder on the other hand because we have a lot more, and we have, you know, these are coming in from people that don't have the same depth of knowledge and experience as the people that would have done these complex things before. Like, these are people that wouldn't have even tried the PR that they're pushing to us. And so there's a lot more effort on our side. And so, you know, we need to be able to use AI to do all kinds of things. So in those scenarios, I need it to be able to do a review, digest it. Is this legit? Is this not? Was this hallucinated, to Bob's point earlier, and a pile of garbage that I need to just send back and be like, dude, figure your stuff out. It also helps us focus on, like, you know, like I said, I need Jürgen's brain for certain things. Do I need him to fix, you know, a typo in some documentation? Nah. Like, things like that. Like, you know, that there's that bar that is, don't get me wrong, as the models improve, it's slowly rising up. But there's that bar of, like, everything below this, AI should just be able to make go away. And it allows us to really focus on the things that, like Bob said, we need a human, and a good human, to focus on.
To put it in a different perspective, the thing I worry about right now is in the software industry. I think the people around this table here are okay because we are senior developers mostly. And so we're at that point where we can do a good review on the code. We understand the code that's being written.
All right, I'm in trouble.
If we wanted to.
I'm in trouble.
The developers that are coming out, they are telling prompts and they don't understand the code. They don't read it. They don't know it to the point where, you know, they can get through and actually develop that application on their own if they want to. It may take them days. It's like Bob said. But I think senior developers in this perspective, you know, they're in a better position right now. These companies that are doing lots of layoffs, I wonder if that is a newer developer position that they're laying off, or what level is being laid off. That's where I'm
So that's an interesting point, but I would actually challenge that a little bit, because I think it depends how you use the AI. Now, as a senior developer, using it to generate code, generate tests, because you can review it yourself, is a giant productivity gain. At the junior level, though, the AI is very good at explaining what code does at a level that a junior can understand it. So a junior developer coming in and asking and being able to use the AI to interpret code can get up to speed faster than I think any of us ever did. So there is actually a rub on that. I think that junior developers that are smart about using AI to get up to speed faster and then attain that level faster can get to a senior level faster. And then it does kind of come down and threaten us a little bit, because you may have more people at that level, but it comes down to how they are using the AI at their level to get up to speed. So I do think there is a valid argument that is going to make it harder to get in the door, but the people that do get in the door, if they're effective with their AI, they will get up to speed faster than any of us in our career.
And I think that's the qualifier, because, like, there was always a path. Like you can always get to senior by understanding everything more, right? The only problem is like, or not problem, but like AI makes you like be effective without having to have this knowledge. So it needs to be deliberate that you're like, I want to understand what happened. I know it works, but why, right?
Exactly.
It's interesting because like one of the experience I had is that when I work, I usually run this like code camps, and usually this starts with the very basic stuff like, oh, this is why you don't do equals and there's equal hash code contracts. That's why we value immutability. And it was kind of interesting because as we shift to this where coding agents were taking that, and I was like, the coding agent usually does not make that mistake of like, like breaking the equal hash code contract or things like that. I needed to elevate my training to the more nuance of design. Like it was interesting because I started like now essentially like teaching like design patterns and what are the trade-offs, because that is one of the things that I noticed that
That was weird.
90
something episodes have we had that problem?
I think
Yeah,
AI was
This is so if like I don't exactly know what I'd say to anger the AI overlords, but they were not happy and they cut my electricity. But having said that, I think I take a good clue when I hear one. I think it's time for us to wrap up. Like I think in terms of the industry, it's interesting times. I know that's a Chinese curse, but to be honest, like, if you have been, thriving and learning new technologies and stuff, and we kind of seen, we have gone through like the beginning all the way from going from XML to JSON, going to Docker to Kubernetes to cloud to like all this, microservices architectures. We have done it so many times. This is just one more, right? Like, it is a different way to do engineering. So, the thing that we know now is that this is not a novelty, is not a blockchain. This is here to stay. So we'll keep recording. We'll keep showing light where we can, and having a very strong opinion about the things that we cannot change. So I think that's it. So stay with us. We promise to be back more. We actually love recording and we love being together, and we just forgot how good it felt. So, and I think now we need more voices from the engineer side. We make sure to bring that to you. And with that, this is Freddie signing off.
All right, this is Bob signing off. Be the thing the AI can't be.
Josh signing off, senior prompt engineer.
This is Michael signing off. Thanks. And what is it, Michael? Don't forget to. Oh, if you're watching this on YouTube, be sure to comment and subscribe. Yeah, and follow us in all the social medias. All right. Thank you, Wizard.